Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Good morning. Welcome to August. August sucks, so be warned. Just the next probably 2-3 weeks here, you're going to see some of the slowest action of the year. Now, of course, if the market turns risk off, then we could get some really interesting things that happen. But usually what happens is nothing in August, and then Jackson Hole happens, and then it's a little bit better until the September jobs numbers. And then once we got September out of the way, then things really pick up. But then we're also into a period where you can have a lot of big downturns. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I'm kind of thinking that I might do a little bit more programming. So we'll see. But, you know, I'll always be putting you guys first here chatting. So to the charts. I'm glad you found that funny, Vlad. All right. So the E-mini. Well, so we had a little bit of a downturn on Friday, right? We kind of came off of those highs. I mean, they recovered in the end, and now we're just a little hop away from all-time highs, and I wouldn't be surprised if the E-mini decided to jump up there. But there has been a little bit of an overnight decline here since I woke up, it looks like. So I'm not quite sure what that is. You have to look into that. When we look at the treasuries, yields continue to decline. This is, them being, so on Friday, they were pushing up pretty aggressively. And now here on Monday, they're above last week's range. So opening basically at last week's high and pushing higher, that has me a little concerned. But at the moment, the pressure does look to the downside on the DOM, but we will see. That one is, we could keep an eye on that. Oil coming back a little bit. I'm not quite sure what the deal is with that, but the one thing that I do see going on in the oil markets is that there was this attack on a ship by Iran, and they're all saying that they're pretty sure it was Iran and that it was like an unmanned aerial vehicle with explosives. So yeah, that's a problem. Gold and silver, a little bit pressured again today. As the dollar seems to be strengthening. So we come back out here to the dollar, and you can see, well, I mean, they're down a little bit here today on the dollar, but overall we've been relatively strong. That was before this whole thing. What was that? Last Thursday? So yeah. Back over here, so let's, by the way, do we see, yeah, it was the right screen. Okay. Okay, so first of all, we got to turn on the text-to-speech. Now, I think that our Combine account is done, like, because it's the new month. Let me just double check that. That's why I was taking like those extra trades instead of just letting the algorithm do its thing. And yeah. Well, it doesn't show me anything that would make me think that it's not working, but let's try starting it. I'm pretty sure that it doesn't. I'm pretty sure that it's not going to let me in. Yep, it doesn't let me in. Okay. So it sends me an email, but on the, well, here, I'll show you. When I come into here on their interface, it still acts like, oh yeah, you're totally good. You just got to pay again. Right? So I'm like, what? Oh, I didn't know there was a Ninja Trader tab. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. I'll make a note of that for them. It sends me an email. That's how I knew, but for sure. I mean, I was expecting it, but that's how I knew for sure that it wasn't gonna. Okay, so that was the first thing. The second thing is there something going on here? Did something push us down an hour ago? Scott Gottlieb tells CNBC we haven't seen a variant beyond Delta that can pierce existing vaccinations, so if we're near the R peak on new Delta infections, we could definitely be moving towards a much better autumn than we thought. That's cool. After an attack on Israel-linked tanker, Iran's ambassador to the UK was called to the UK Foreign Office on Monday. Boehnard's Fed chair job interview is the longest, most painful ever. Also, I thought it was between Powell Boehnard. I didn't think it was Boehnard if Powell not reappointed. What's this? Selena Moshin Boehnard, considered a leading candidate to take over as Fed chief in February if Powell isn't reappointed, has said she's more inclined to use regulatory tools to head off financial excesses like asset bubbles than the Powell-led central bank is. Oh. Okay. Surely she didn't say it like that, but she must know. Maybe Powell doesn't want to do it anymore. If I was, you know what? If I was Jerome Powell, I wouldn't want to do it anymore. Huh. Well, I don't see anything relating to that, so that's weird. Oh, it's an opening range breakout. Okay, I'll turn on the Texas speech here. SQ earnings, the only big one down, reporting earnings -4%. Hey, Uzi, how are you? Well, we've got like most of the big earnings behind us, right? You know what? I want to manage some of my bookmarks here. So there's still a lot of them today. Don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of them today, but the largest market cap one, 112 billion. HSBC Holdings, Global Payments, NXP, Ferrari, like most of these companies that are reporting today, I don't really, Take Two is reporting that, which would be interesting. But, like the majority of them have already done and reported. Like it was really, really loaded in last week for some reason this season. So we refinished our remodel this weekend. Just have to install a sink. Would have done that too, but Lowe's is a yeah, right. I do the same thing. I'll go to Lowe's or Home Depot and they just don't quite have what I want. By the way, I was saying, the pressure seems to be to the downside on treasuries, and here in the last minute or two, it just rocketed back up. And I'm too late. That sucks, but I don't know. Can I buy it right there? Nope, I guess not. Oh my. That. Do you see that big old fatty order stacking in the 5-year? So it looks like, it seems to me that 5-year is driving this. Even though the 2s and 10s are flattening. And the others aren't. Oh, weird. Okay, so what's happening is these are all moving up, but the 2-year isn't. I wonder, do you think why? Okay, so just know, they just took out the high of the day. It only took 600 contracts. I suppose the high of the day was back at, 21, but geez. Okay, a little bit more absorption at 23. Oh, Treasury Department to invoke extraordinary measures as Congress misses debt ceiling deadline is the top story on CNBC. I thought that the deadline wasn't like that must not be. I think that they're playing around with that. I think that that's like when they implement extraordinary measures. That's not like when we go into a government shutdown. I'm pretty sure that the government shutdown thing isn't until September. And I don't know what goes on with that if they like, because they got like their budget, but that's not gonna pass. Okay. So they're starting to range a little bit. Trading floor audio tweets. Israel-Iran tensions rise. Israeli Prime Minister vows retaliation for Iran attack on oil tanker. Israel will respond. Darn. Maybe it is just games. Well, I think that what might be going on in the treasury right here is that they left a pretty big vacuum behind them. Because it doesn't really make sense for them to trade into 21 half so easily, right? '21 was kind of where the breakout was, so it might have been like, stop out move, and all of this was the liquidity isn't very firm. Okay, so that time they ticked up in the 5-year didn't go with them. Looks like they're getting dragged though. So we're getting a bull flattener. Oh, that has been happening a lot. So typically if we're moving up, we would see things steepen. If we're moving down, we'd see things flatten. But lately we've been getting the opposite. We go up and we get a flattener. It's been very, very small and subtle though. Hmm. Hmm. Well, liquidity in the 10-year looking a little firmer, but the 5-year's still lagging. I guess 22.5 is like the stop out zone too, so Okay. See, that 5 years going to need to tick 19.5 before this is going to be able to go higher. The 30 year certainly wants higher. Look at that. A little absorption there at 19.25. Changed the market maker's mind for sure on that one. Ticks up very easily after that. I would do that too. I'd be like, oh, I don't want to take fills at 19F. Oh yes, I want to look at that. Last night in Utah, we had the craziest rainstorm. I was raining what's some of the hardest rain I think I've ever seen here. And they were giving us warnings about flash floods and all that sort of a thing. I was like, well, nothing's happening here. I went and looked around, made sure everything around my house, because I'm still unsure about the drainage on my yard and everything, but it was all fine. All seemed fine. So but I'm sure that somewhere got hit hard. Utah man trying to sell his home for Dogecoin. Come on. Pretty decent amount taking profits there at 23. I mean, we've had 10Ks so far and they've been icebergs and everything. When I look on the news, it's like, yeah, there was some flooding, but the only places that really got flooded were in southern Utah. Paul Krugman talking about hospitalizations in Florida. So that's something that I haven't been hearing a whole lot about, but is interesting with the coronavirus is we keep saying that the deaths aren't coming through, but it does sound like there's hospitalizations. So, yeah. They're still kind of just floating around there because the 5 years holding back. Meanwhile, through all of this, the E-mini's just been flat. Oh, we do have some numbers today. We've got some ISMs and construction spending at 10 o'clock. I'm looking around to see if, is there any other market that seems to be doing anything interesting, and doesn't look like it. I guess Ethereum is doing well today. See, like, they're not even putting a whole lot. Well, I bet you that's still a lot trades there at 23, but it's not the absorption in these two that's holding it back. It's the 5-year not wanting to go up. How's it going, Win? Yeah, well, so I was definitely sick. I didn't like throw up or anything, but like anytime I ate something, my stomach hurt like bad. It was like that until Sunday, and the baby kind of had a fever at night. So I don't know what we had. I don't think that it was coronavirus. One, because we already had it, but two, because the symptoms don't match up quite. It was more like a flu bug, but I don't know. The kids left. We have the kids on the weekend, except for Asher, of course, and cleaned a lot of things, and we seem to be doing better, so I don't know. I was definitely grumpy on Friday, in part because I didn't get a whole lot of sleep, but then also because I was getting sick, so. I'll admit, I'm not feeling my top self today either. I was coming in and thinking, well, we should just program. If I hadn't have seen this trend start in the 10-year, maybe I would be programming something on the other screen, because I got some things I don't necessarily want to show them, but I had a couple of things that I wanted to study. 1 in 360. This is giving such a useless way of presenting it. So, like, do you think that that's presenting it that way is, I don't know. I can't see what the thought process would be behind trying to present it in that way. There's this group, I tell you what, so on the weekend, so here's something interesting that happened. Was it on the weekend or was it Friday? They were talking about restrictions with Joe Biden, and he kind of said that, like, you know, it's a likely possibility or something like that, that the more restrictions. So if you go and you read Zero Hedge, they're all on like, oh, more, you know, shutdowns on second round of shutdowns. It's inevitable. Is it going to happen? This and that. And I'm looking at this like, I think you guys are all reading way too much into somebody that isn't even all there, you know, said. And then there was like this stuff where later on in the day, or later on in the weekend rather, some of the guys in the White House, I forget the names. So they're names that like you wouldn't hear, you wouldn't know, right? I had never heard of them before. And they were chastising people in the media for fear mongering on the coronavirus and making it out to be a bigger deal than it really was. So there's like this group of people out there that think that the coronavirus is like, you know, that the shutdowns are coming. But then I go back and I look at the numbers and I'm like, you can't justify it. You can't justify it. When will you care when a shutdown is justified? Okay, I would care when some sort of a policy change is justified, and I don't see that. 100. Well, you realize, Keller, that number is unlikely to change, right? Like, it's a 0.2% death rate. That's just like what it is. It doesn't, right? Unless you get like another new variant that is extremely more deadly. But the reality is that if anything, that number is likely to go down because further variants of the virus that are more contagious are going to be less deadly, right? Did you ever try to build an indicator and add additional factor? What do you mean by additional factor data? You mean like other external data? Now, don't say things like that to Uzi. And don't say things like that, Uzi. like it's really kind of silly to come in here and say, like, do you have a death wish? Like, I had the coronavirus. Of the 3 or 4 times that I've gotten sick in the last 3 years, the coronavirus that was confirmed was the mildest of them. Well, they're going into 21. That 5-year one's down. It's flattening hard. Well, at -2, I think I got to give up. Gwen says the COVID numbers are dropping in England and they don't know why. Some think it's because people catch COVID but don't. Well, yeah, of course. Most people don't go to the hospital because they caught it. I don't know. Sorry, she's probably thinking, oh, well, that came out wrong, right? Yeah, most people don't go to the hospital when they catch it, right? Because most people, it's not a threat to them. Yeah, I think Uzi's right. It's because COVID is endemic now. It will come in waves. So restrictions will make these waves last longer. Probably true. Probably true. Okay, Win says I could have written that better. Yeah. People are not testing positive for COVID. I guess you're right. I didn't need to rewrite this to explain. Well, yeah, you catch it and you don't go and get tested. Like so for me, since I already had it once and it's confirmed that I had it, I can come in and I can say, oh yeah, I survived COVID, right? It's not interesting to me anymore. If I caught it again, it wouldn't matter to me testing that it was COVID or not. To me, I'm sure the government cares, but I don't care. Why should I care if it's COVID or the flu? Well, now that I've given up on my trade and all of that, they're probably gonna like shoot right back up to the highs. Man, the 5-year is really dragging it down. See, this could be deceptive action because the 5-year is driving the action. They might just be doing that because flattening, and they could rocket back up there again, potentially. But the order flow, at the very least, doesn't justify it. Kulud says discount on 5-year, and I don't know what the thing is I'm sitting here and I'm like, why would they be that aggressive with it? But perhaps it's just because they don't think that a lower yield is justified here. What should I call this strategy? Let's see here. I've noticed people wearing masks around here again. My mom is in Florida and still isn't vaccinated. I'm not sure how careful she is, but she doesn't need to catch it. Yeah, probably not. She probably needs to get vaccinated. Mom isn't vaccinated either. Her husband is. I don't know why it's her decision, though. I think people her age should strongly consider getting it, like their flu shots and stuff. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, it kind of goes back to this thing that's like, okay, so we supposedly have like 60% vaccination rate, and when you add on top of that natural immunity, it should be to herd immunity, if not for the Delta variant, right? And the government is still pushing really, really, really hard this whole everybody needs to get vaccinated thing, and it's kind of like, why? I think it's because it's like a PR win for them. Like they can push politics off of it. Oh, it's those darn Republicans preventing us from getting everybody vaccinated. If I were in my 60s, I would get this COVID shot too. Yeah, well, if you're in your 60s, it's actually not that bad. It kind of depends on your overall health, right? Once you get into your 70s and 80s, though, that's where it's like it's very likely to get you, right? Let's see if I can do this here. So I'm wondering, did they create? I want to do something with correlation. What was that? Interesting that didn't hit my alert, but there was a sweep there of some sort. Look at that. Ah, that's weird. Look at the cumulative delta there. That might be incorrect, though. That's a situation where your delta might get it wrong. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Good stuff. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Oh, I should have just turned on the auto reader here because I was on a different screen, but my mom gets her news from her friends who get theirs from social media feeds. She's afraid and doesn't understand or lean into science. Well, broader health context considered, but if I were good to go health-wise, I'd get it. It's just another shot you're going to have to get every year anyways. Yeah. The thing is that I don't know. So the issue is that the kind of person that only gets their news from Facebook doesn't particularly care about the news either, Like they're not doing a whole lot. I don't know. But as it relates to the coronavirus, I don't know how that turns out. Oh, I don't want to cover the whole screen with my back test, so I'm going to hide it. Oops, it'll be under order flow. Well, I don't want to run this on a whole year's worth of data, but well, we can just run it on this year's worth of data. I don't think I have a choice. If I really want to get useful information out of this, well, actually, let's just run it on this last week here, because I'm sure that there's going to be yeah, I'm sure that there's going to be bugs. All media reports report the same core information, is just the received ramifications that differ by customer demographics. Yeah. Well, yeah, see, that didn't take any trades. Tick replay on. I mean, it could be something that just hasn't happened. But it could also not be. Well, so what I should do is I should debug it to confirm that it's actually getting a real value. Yeah. Well, the way that you can, I mean, if you just look at way CNN presents things, right? Like CNN has a way of really making people like scared about stuff. Well, the 10-year is back up there now. Could have taken some, but look, it's not. Really did just dump it. Well, it would have taken 3 ticks of adverse excursion, which is a little bit more than I want to take. Because I wanted to write it as like a momentum move, but you want to buy into 23 now? Nah. Bet you it goes higher, but it's not the move I was looking for. Okay. And I want to start right there. Okay. Aha. Ah, ha! That value is 0. That suggests to me that the indicator is not working. Yeah, it's just 0. Which should never be the case. My delta of 0 is bad as well. Well, what's with that? Have tick replay on. Ah, now it's giving me values. Well, so now we need to go and see if I can find it. So I'm looking for something that's unusual. So there was one day where it kind of happened this past week, but I'm just gonna go through a year's worth of data and see if it happens. Like, I'm just having it take along when that condition happens. It shouldn't happen very often, so. People won't buy ads for stuff people won't watch or read, so they learn to sell snake oil on outrage. Yeah, well, it's not even that. Like, the thing that's really weird about the media in the modern age is how the media has completely given up on trying to provide objective information. Like, there was always these news sources that, places and, situations where you knew where what you were reading was still going to be good information at the very least, right? And after the internet 2.0 and then really solidified under Trump, it was like the media collectively decided that trying to provide that trying to provide that objective information was like not a worthwhile pursuit. Yeah, so I would avoid algo box like the plague. It's overpriced garbage. Voted for the $15 an hour minimum wage, but I didn't expect your prices to increase because the reaction for the good feeling you get for voting for it blotted out the obvious truth that it caused price inflation. Well, there is I forget where it was that I saw it, but there was like I had seen some surveys and stuff that kind of suggested that there was a large portion of people that were voting Democrat that really did not believe in the Democrat political ideas at all and were only voting for them because they got a feel-good feeling of like we're what is the word, compassionate people. Yeah. I wish I could remember what the specifics of it was, because it was really interesting to me, but... This back test, I'm really interested to see if I come back and I get any trades at all. if it gives any trades at all, it's going to be interesting. Oh, we don't have Ace today either. I was too mean to him on Friday. Yeah, I answered this question. And anytime that they ask me about Vinny, I'm like immediately suspicious that somebody's trying to pull some nonsense. I hear he is just lurking. Oh, okay. I was thinking about that all weekend, and so I was like, like it was, because you got to understand that it was like my robot had taken a trade and it was a losing trade, and then when I lose, and then your best buddy comes back and is like, well, I took the other side of that. Thanks, Seth. Like it made me mad. But it probably made me more mad than it normally would. Just, like part of it was like, we shouldn't be doing that. But the other part of it was, I was just grumpy, man. You saw that. Well, oh man, oh my gosh. You know what, Saul? There is a lot of stuff about that. So the thing is that channel has come and harassed us many, many times. And so my general opinion is that we just don't talk about it so that it doesn't promote them at all. Of course, nobody here that's watching right now is probably ever going to go and look, but, because we've only got like a dozen or so viewers. Yeah, we've got like our 16 or so normal viewers, and so all of those guys kind of already know. So I suppose it's not a thing, but he has come and harassed us, and basically his general mode of operation is cause as much drama as possible everywhere that he goes to try and promote himself. But the thing is he's promoting a system that is basically like other indicators that you can get on Futures.io, but just kind of visually styled differently. And then he obfuscates what they're actually doing by renaming them and giving them different names and stuff. Like, instead of saying this is a 50-day moving average, they call it the golden path or something like that. And then on top of that, he has like straight up defrauded people. Like he would say that he was gonna, I don't know, like it goes on and on and on and on. And then he went and he made like a whole week's worth of videos calling me a quote unquote scammer for basically having a YouTube channel. Like it's ridiculous, because it was like I do have indicators now, but at the time I wasn't even selling the indicators. So it was like, oh, but we do use Jigsaw, and we had an affiliate link for Jigsaw, which is good software. And because I had an affiliate link, I'm a scammer. And meanwhile, this guy is selling like this trash for $2,000 a pop or something. Like it really is one of those, like, if he can just get 5 suckers to buy it a month, you can make a living off of it, right? And yeah. So Jigsaw is awesome. Yeah. Have you been in here before, Saul? Because the name seems familiar. I don't know. Anyways, so whenever somebody comes in and asks about Jigsaw, asks about AlgoBox, I'm immediately suspicious, because they're always trying to run psyops and things like that. So I would say avoid like the plague. If you are an honest inquisitor, then you just dodged a bullet by asking, and I would stay as far away from it as possible. Oh, you're a Sierra Charts user. Okay. It's a crime to let a sucker keep his money. Oh, I'm not so sure I agree with that one, but the issue is that this guy in particular is doing some things that I'm pretty sure that, like, if the FTC got involved and investigated him, that they would find things to prosecute him for. because I've been given, like, people come and tell me stuff all the time, because apparently he used to spend, it's not so much now, but he used to spend a lot of time trashing me, and now he's focused on other creators. You picked up on the Dave Trader Paradise is a scam thing. Yeah, well, and the thing that's so funny about this is, like, so this is what happened. I'll tell you the longer story since we're talking about it anyways. So who better to ask than someone who knows programming better than me? Yeah. So let me tell you a more expanded story about my experience with this, right? We were just doing our stream, and one day he comes in and starts talking in our Discord. And he immediately starts saying things that are, like, crazy. I can't remember what it was, but he was, like, immediately making these big performance claims and things like this. And I tried to be nice, but it was just like, this person is, like, obviously toxic and cannot be allowed to be in our Discord. So I banned him, like, almost immediately. And I went and I posted the conversation on Futures.io. So if you search for him on Futures.io, you'll come across a thread about it, right? And he got really upset about that. So this is kind of how it started. So the whole point of that, though, was that he came around, and it was less than 10-20 minutes before I was like, this guy is, stay away, because he's not all there, and he's obviously trying to pull a fast one on everybody, right? But then oh dear, hold on. Oh, that's really weird. So CQG just disconnected on me for some reason. Yeah, but why am I still getting ticks in ES? How am I doing that? Oh, what? It actually did take some trades. And it did almost exactly what I thought it would do. Oh, except for that it held them for way too long. So I don't actually know. Yeah, that is really weird. What's weird is that I'm still getting data? How is that happening? Well, and then I just shut down Visual Studio when it comes back. But my flow over here in the micros never went away, so I don't know what the deal is with that. Weird. Yeah, see, look, it did take 10 trades, so it's happened 10 times over the last year, but I didn't give them like a MFE, MAE sort of. So I guess we could come back and do the analysis. Oh boy. It's so much, but it's just because it took a signal contract and held them forever. Analysis, and then we want to do MFE. And MAE. Oh, wow. So about half of them did pretty good. Let's see here. There should be 10 dots, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, okay, so there's that one. So if I were to set my adverse at 1,000, let's say, I would still have I would have a 70% win rate. Okay, well, here's the menu starting up. Let's watch that. Oh man, I didn't finish the Sal's Gotta Go now, huh? Well, I was gonna say, like, this within 10 minutes, I was like, something's up with this guy. But then I'm looking at some of these other streamers, and they've all kind of been like entertaining him, you know, like not outright. It's just, it's so funny to me. I was like, guys, what are you doing? This guy, he's a psychopath. You tell him, like, there was something going on with him and Matt the other day. And like Matt was like, well, maybe I'll reach out to him. Dude, Matt, if you're listening, man, that guy is a psychopath. Stay away. Okay, we got another one of those cell sweeps. Well, we've been getting that a lot over the last week or so, and those have ended up being buys, but I'm not going to question it or play it. Okay, so let's add stops and targets and all that into this. He says, what the hell? Did you get caught in that? Like, that's more than enough to stop you outright. So I don't, it might be, unless you've already got a good position, you know, might not be worth trying to take a trade, but it probably will go up, right? Just understand it probably will go up. At least that's what it's been doing. So I wonder, if I set the stop to 16, will it end up being random? Well, that happened, and then they took off. Like, that was a pretty good upside move. Vinny's YouTube channel? Yeah. It was kind of interesting to me because most of the other guys, you know, like Matt and Day Trader Paradise, I do have to say, Day Trader Paradise was, I don't think, being completely honest with people either, from what I could see. He came out and was like very much tried to market and everything, and making claims. Like, the thing is, you just don't make performance claims, you know? But I think if my recollection is correct, what he was doing was he was taking like extreme risk on, you know, kind of the similar thing, so that it always looks like you're winning. But then he was claiming that it was all live money when none of it was. I remember when he came around, because when he started, it was like I was getting so many ads. I was like, oh, how much is he paying for all of these ads? And then when I go and I look at him, it's like he only just barely started streaming. So it was clearly like a business scheme from the start, right? How do you know it's not live money? Well, I think the whole thing was that he admitted that it wasn't. That he like admitted that he had been lying. Right? Like compare that to me and Matt, because both me and Matt, we don't always trade well. Like, we've seen Matt stops out on a combine more than once, right? I have awful days and months, right? But what do we not do? We don't make claims about how we're performing, and we don't make claims about when it's live and when it's not and all that. Or we tell you. Like, if you're just honest with people and don't make performance claims, then there's no problem, right? It's so funny. Like, the people that get in trouble, they only have their own ego to blame, right? Yeah. Well, we're still getting those really ugly sweeps, so okay, let's try running that again. Oh no, so now they're coming down to the days of a low. Yeah. Can you see them on my screen, Ace? Like, when you look at it from a tick by tick perspective, they just get, you know, it's just like a flood of sell orders comes and takes up that whole stack of stuff. The problem is, why would you do that, right? It might just be hedging. So, like, I can't make much on whether that's a buy or sell signal. It seems to me that it might not actually matter. But lately, what's been happening is we're getting that, and then it moves higher anyways. It's very typical for Monday to have an early high and pull back some. I'm not seeing a whole. I mean, there's certainly something going on here with the treasuries, at least at first, where they had a little bit of a strong bid, but it's since kind of fizzled out. Other than that, I don't really see anything going on that makes me think that, like, I'm wondering if it doesn't like me doing the back testing here. Because I'm running a back test at the moment. It disconnected me. Oh, now it's reconnected. I wonder if it tells me anything. Lost to the historical data server. Could it have something to do with it not wanting to send me data because I'm the backtesting? But in this case, it shouldn't be requesting data. Since it's already there, well, I'll say use local data only to be sure. Next time it runs. Well, now it says I'm connected, but I'm not. Oh, now I'm good. Now it's fine. Okay. Now it'll catch up here. E-mini coming back up. Here we go. 2 very large outcome-based studies of natural immunity due to prior infection compared to immunity due to vaccines. The cumulative incidence of SARS-CoV-2 infection remained almost zero among previously infected unvaccinated subjects. Previously infected subjects who were vaccinated and previously uninfected subjects who were vaccinated compared with a steady increase in cumulative incidence amongst previously uninfected subjects who remained unvaccinated. Conclusion: individuals who have had SARS-CoV-2 infection are unlikely to benefit from COVID-19 vaccination, and vaccines can be safely prioritized to those who have not been infected before. Cool. So just scroll back. Where did they? Yep, I liked that. Similarly, the overall estimated level of protection from prior SARS-CoV-2 infection for documented infection is 94.8%. Okay. Yeah. If you have natural immunity, it works, is what my takeaway. Oh, it still works. Very, very interesting. So maybe I do have something here. Except for that it's just too freaking rare. And the thing is that I bet if I went to like 32, then I could get it to 70 or 80. Move that back over here. Moderna, Pfizer hike vaccine prices by up to 25%? Really? Oh, and so we do get the news at the top of the hour, right? we're getting the market number, which is 63 spot 4 versus 63 spot 1. Well, might get the news at the top of the hour, and then it might be worth it. There's going to be these ISM numbers are going to be really interesting. Treasury ticking back down again, huh? Should have bought it down here at like 08. Actually, would have gotten as low as 07, huh? Five-year wants lower. You're on training mode this week and you're going to try the NQ? Oh boy. I've kind of gotten into like, what should I be doing? Like, E-Mini hasn't been too kind to me lately. Not that I only took like one live trade this summer. And it was a good one. But other than that, I've been like super risk off. And I've been saving everything for the micro treasuries. But the thing is I would like to backtest the micro treasuries, but you know, this got kind of a little bit limited what I can do there because they're not out yet. Anyways, so, you know, I can still backtest strategies on the ES and everything, but it's like, what should I backtest? What am I going to write that hasn't, you know? So you start to get into a point where you've like literally tried everything. And looking for harder things. I guess what I need to get into is more of the machine learning stuff, but Yeah, the 10-year are like really under pressure now. I wonder if perhaps the Treasury's turning down like this suggests that the E-mini is going to pop off of this next piece of news. Oh, that's interesting. When I put the stop to 32, it becomes a little bit more 50-50. So then if I switch it and go the other way and go to 8, does that get it worse or better? It's probably, I'm probably doing something that because I only have 10 samples, what it comes out to doesn't really matter, but I'm still interested. I guess the next thing is to lower the threshold and see if we can. Are you going to print new lows? Oh, we still got 7 minutes. Oh, RJ says, I'm looking forward to trying micro treasuries. Me too. Well, the thing is that I think I'm going to have to take a longer term trades on them. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So that might take longer. It might be come in and just take a short on the 5-year, or a long on the 5-year, I guess. My Yahoo Finance just tweeting a story that's exactly like what I'm thinking. The market right now is getting much more optimistic relative to the Fed that yields will stay lower, either because liquidity will stay strong, inflation will collapse, and or the Delta variant will continue to wreak havoc on the economy. So, like, there's this thing where, like, the cynics on the street think that there's going to be another shutdown. Or that something bad is about to happen. And so they're pushing the yields lower when what we know about things so far suggests that they're going to come back. So if I was trying to do like a long-term trade, I think that the trade would be going long yield. Hello, NASDAQ trader. Now, what happened there? Why did it not? I made a mistake in there somewhere because I wanted my break even should be like at the low of the day, but instead it showed a loss. Brett thinks ISM will beat. I kind of thinking that it might. Bot says going long yield doesn't that mean being short treasuries? Yeah. I think that if I was going to have to make a swing, like not even a swing, but let's say that I was going to make a trade where I would be long for 3 to 6 months in the treasuries, the bet that I'd be making is long yield short treasury. Yeah, how was the vacay? Are you off of vacation or are you still kind of going out fishing every day? I bet you he's still going out fishing every day. It's still August. Come on. Yeah, then I go down to 8 and it goes back to 60. You get a much better profit factor that way for some reason. That doesn't make much sense. But whatever. I was doing a back testing this morning, bots, and I was like, okay, I've seen this thing happen, but it doesn't happen very often. So I went through, and in the past year, or since the beginning of the year, it's only happened 10 times. But it was a buy 60% of the time. And if you give yourself a larger stop, it was 80%. So I'm wondering if I can loosen the thresholds here. He's posting a chart. He was always trying to say something. Oh no! Oh, he caught a fish. That's a pretty big fish. I'd say that's a pretty big fish, huh? Okay, here we go. Ouch. Okay, so lower than forecast. Well, so that's what I wanted to do. I only lost $10 on that, really. So construction spending spot 1 versus spot 4 expected, and then manufacturing PMI 59 spot 5 versus an expected 60 spot 9. So does that really justify as big of a move as we just saw? I'm not sure it does. Index, the dollar index is moving quite a bit too. Like there was that initial downside movement, and then since then we've been doing pretty okay. Was this move already priced in the open? I'm going to say no. I suppose it could have been this down move that 5 could have been priced in, but well, it doesn't seem to be going the way that I want, does it? It's being awfully fickle here, huh? Oh, good. Well, a 10-year is starting to step up like it's going to go for highs again. A little over 10% of today's volume has in ZB is traded at 165 and 0405. Yeah. Well, it looks to me, I think that the overall treasury complex wants to move higher, but the 5-year has been holding them back. This one right here, they're good. They're going now, huh? I decided to go with the E-mini for the trade, though, so I hope I made the right choice. Is it last month's high? Let me look here. What is ZB's chart? 12. So 12 is the 25th. So now in the E-mini, let's remember that the extended session open is at 43.95. A good little skip below us. Look at that, 25 now. It might be worth trying to. Does a backtick free entry trade exist since you can only execute on flow against you? I'm not sure what you mean by that. You mean a trade where it never ticks against you? Well, one thing I will tell you is there's always the adverse excursion bias, right? So if you're using limit orders, you're more likely to have some adverse excursion, right? The ones where you're like catching good momentum, if you want to trade where it never goes against you, you're more likely to catch that by hitting into a price as it's about to leave, trying the as she goes trade basically. So they were starting to get a little bit of upside and it just falls back quick. I guess I should know that the range here is much more constrained than it might appear. Yeah, and then they get back up there really easily too. Nowhere it doesn't tick against you on the entry. I feel like these don't execute, but when they do, is better because it is about to tick against you. Yeah, so like there's very much this sort of a, if you get your fill, it's a bad thing because it's going to keep going. Like you'd have to be able to select a price where it's just not actually going to go through, right? It's kind of this odd conundrum because I think that overall you're more likely to make money if you have a strategy that uses limit orders. But there's that adverse tick bias. So how do you deal with that? Okay, so let's see what they're due here at 07. Are there still buyers here? Are there still sellers here? Well, that kind of suggests to me there's still buyers. Yeah. On Tuesday, Yellen will talk to House Democrats on rental assistance. What? The rental assistance thing is just crazy to me. Because apparently the CDC or I guess Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or whoever has already said that you don't have to pay the late. It's just, the whole thing is just like, what? And there was like a Supreme Court case about it and stuff. Oh yeah, I didn't see that picture yet until just now that Uzi had sent me, and yeah, it's a total mess. What a strategy where it used multiple entries was a small stop, but automatically break even in some, still be viable long term in a fast moving market. So what you're talking about is basically you're managing risk through time, right? So you're taking on excess risk by adding multiple contracts and having them all stop out at one spot, but then having their targets like multiple targets higher, right? And then you can move things to break even. Depending on how you manage it and how it interacts with your entry signal, that can be an effective way of trading, because when you take on risk, it increases your chances of making money, essentially, right? The issue is, just like any kind of strategy that's really more about taking on the premium of risk, making money from the premium of taking on risk, is that when things go south, that kind of strategy can get destroyed, right? Because if you have a trade where you enter into it and it almost immediately stops you out, that really sucks, right? And if say you're winning 60% of the time, right? But if every one of those losers ends up being the one where it goes against you really quickly and not the ones where you have to break even, then you're not going to make money, right? So when you get into a market that's like just bender down, that's kind of a problem. So if you're going to do a strategy like that, then probably you need to have some things going to help you identify those situations and not take on the risk when it's not favorable to you, right? Well, it sucks that I didn't get filled back there, but it didn't actually get that close to me. And I got it to run a little bit for me on the downside, but it didn't quite go to where I would like to see. It just kind of went to the low from beforehand. So even though these numbers were good numbers, not good numbers, but I mean moved the market fairly much, I don't see anything that's like, this changes everything, super big long-term impact sort of a thing. But probably the trade I should have taken was long in the treasury, huh? Yeah. Anyways, the thing is that the better strategy is really just to have something that really truly has a high probability of predicting a move of a certain degree, with a probability of more than 55%, and if you can get more than 55%, like, that's impressive. The issue is that the ones that I've found that do that are all very, very short-term signals, and there's like too much competition in the order book for them that it's not really practical, right? So then
Block by.
that's why most people are stuck with what they'd use. Come on. Hit me. Hit me. Do it. Thank you. That one too? Treasuries. How am I? So I need to use less trades or more edge or both. Well, there you go. More edge is the way to think about it, yeah. Okay, so I should come back and change some stuff in the strategy and get back to work. But, this is another one of those, so the thing is if you're holding liquidity in NQ, how are you deciding which price to take? That's a really, it's a really hard one to take. You're going to get a fill and it's not going to go a certain amount against you. That's really hard in the 10-year, right? There are situations where I can take a trade and I can be pretty confident that it's never going to go even a tick against me, right? When we're getting a trend like this, any one of these spots I could have taken, one or more ticks and it never would have gone against me. Because the liquidity is just too much. Man, so I have no clue how far this is going to go. This is getting a little scary to me now. So what if I just do 0.5? How many trades do I get if I do negative 0.5? Two of those meals have had 12 people. Wow. Well, that was a big fish that you showed us a picture of, huh? So, those treasuries are just taking off. The E-mini is not really reacting all that dramatically to this. See, I still feel that the trade is to go long yields. The question is just, what is the event that is going to be the right entry? Because I'm sure that if you took it right, well, of course, if you had taken it earlier when we were talking about it, you would already have some adverse excursion against you, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if even later in the week we move higher in the treasuries. These guys are really aggressively taking this trade. And it's one of those things that when it falls apart, it's going to happen really quickly. It's going to be one thing that happen. It could be the jobs report. The jobs report this Friday would be a really good candidate, right? The jobs report comes in and, it's better than expected and job creation is really high. That could really kill the treasuries here. So maybe on Friday, that's what I'll do, is I'll try and take the trade of going short these on Friday, just ahead of the news. And then we could use our key levels indicator as you know, a place to set our stops. Entire German bond yield curve is now in negative territory after Germany's 30 year yield turns negative for the first time since early February. That's another thing, is it seems like the treasuries are saying that the yields are going to go negative. And yet I don't think that they're pricing for the probability of when the next rate increases is changed, really. I don't know if what we read off of that would be too useful right now, so I'm not going to go look, but... Wow, it's even at 28.5. See, I had to remember I had my order back there. Sucks. I know, I think they even ticked into me a little bit. I just didn't get filled. I'm really interested if I do the points, negative point, how many more trades I get here. Like, is it going to be like 20, 30 trades, or is it going to jump up to like a couple hundred? The E-mini might turn negative here. I think it's worth a try. No. Yeah, that's a stop. Oh yeah, it changed it a lot. That gave me 600 trades. Oh, and I had the stop set really, really tight. So let's fix that. Run it again. Oh, that was the... I forgot to turn off the sound on my back tester. That's what that sound was. The back tester makes that sound when it finishes. So that... what I'll do is I'll turn it on and turn the speakers on and go into the other room. Oh. Well, E-mini is still drifting higher. Probably because they like the low yields. Whoa, 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 what? Okay, so that one finally gave us a little stop out action, huh? And everything was moving when that happened. Is there some news on that one? Not hearing anything on the news squawk, not seeing anything on Twitter. Don't see the dollar really moving significantly either. Oil's not looking so hot today. Gold looks maybe pointed up. Cool. Hmm. Okay. Man, they're just very willing to take that 28.5, aren't they? We still got 30 minutes left? Wow. Yeah, please take a moment to hit the like button. Thank you, Win. Slow day. It's going to be like this for a couple of weeks. I need to start putting together the video for Earn to Trade there. And I'm like, well, if I'm able to put it out next Monday, which is actually a real possibility if I can just start writing it today, will there be as much activity? But I'm kind of thinking like I just want to do it, so. Because I could also ask them, let's do it another month, but nah, like do it in September, and then we'd be trading the micros. This doesn't make sense. All the channels I follow are seeing the normal summer drop. Everyone's outside somewhere. Maybe when the children go back to school, the YouTube town gets busy. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, I know that for markets that a lot of people go on vacation, and that alone just, kind of has its own self. What is the word? Like that causes people to change their behavior, and it makes the behavior, less activity overall. But, like a normal YouTube channel, I would think the kids being home all day would if their kids are their audience, that they would do better in the summer. But you're saying that's not the case? And like other channels, like I would think that they shouldn't have much change at all. Because, they, people still work. I don't know. Like most people watch YouTube videos like when they get into work and just before they leave work. Oh, did this finish and I just forgot about it? Yes. So with a 16 tick stop, the win rate is not as hot. Doesn't come out to be a winner. Now, how many trades per day is that? That's 4 trades per day? Oh, really? So there's got to be a spot and point at which it like flips. Like, we'll see. Follow several channels like the Gen Xio who are stay-at-home dads, hoping to do something with YouTube, or dads hoping to find a group of adults to talk about something like politics. Well, you know, like if I was a stay-at-home dad and all of my kids were in school, then yeah, I think that I would do something like YouTube. Cool. Both of those got filled. I was getting a little nervous about that one, actually. In fact, I will take another. Pelosi letter to lawmakers on eviction moratorium. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. This is the letter that Pelosi has sent. It starts, "The war has changed." Okay. With these words, the CDC cautioned the difference that the Delta variant has made on the pandemic, and as they have called upon the American people to mask up, to be vaccinated, and to take other public health precautions, it is critical in recognition of this urgency that they extend the eviction moratorium. Putting people on the streets contributes to the spread of the virus. It doesn't matter because it's unconstitutional. House Democratic leadership called upon the administration to extend the moratorium. The purpose of the extension is to provide more time to expedite the distribution of the $46.5 billion that was already allocated by Congress and that has been transferred by the administration to the states and localities. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's so wrong. You want to pay the landlord their rent, then go ahead. I mean, I don't think that you would be able to do that. I don't think people would go along with that. But that's what but you can't just say, they don't have to pay and there's nothing you can do about it. It's unconstitutional. And not only is it unconstitutional, but it was ruled unconstitutional. And the only reason that they didn't strike it down was because it was about to expire. So you can't turn around and extend it. It's just like, what has Congress come to here? Where it's like, the Supreme Court struck down our ruling, but just let it expire. I know what we should do. We should re-implement that rule that they just deemed unconstitutional. What? You kidding me? Look at that. High of the day in the 10-year. Sal, I hope everyone made some good trades. I don't take it too seriously in the summer, to be honest with you. So, but I made some okay trades in the treasury, I suppose. And it did not work out as well as I wanted in the MES, though. I forget what I was saying to you earlier. I think I had made my point. I guess I could give you the other spill. Listen, here's the spill that I give you. This is the thing that I think that every trader should be told when they're starting out, that people aren't told. Right? When you trade, your buy or sell order has an impact on the market, even if it's infinitesimally small. And together, all of you guys trading in the same direction off of a particular signal that you're getting has an impact on the market. And the impact that it has, it moves it in the direction that you're trading is. So if you're buying it, it's going to move things up. It's going to move price up. Well, there's an issue with that because that means that you're basically arbitraging away your trade, right? So if you see something that you know is going to move price up 8 ticks, and you all trade it, moves it up eight ticks, and hopefully you got in before it's moved up 8 ticks, right? So then it's like if too many people are trading it, it's going to go away, right? So then you have to get into it earlier, and then everybody is going to race to get into it earlier and earlier and earlier until basically like the edge doesn't even exist anymore, right? So you're trying trade it earlier, but like maybe there's a slightly less probability because you're taking it earlier, and eventually it just disappears, right? So the market seeks out and arbitrages away edges, and it's competitive. So because of that, you can't just go out and find the most popular strategy out there and then turn around and trade it and make money in the long term. You might work for a period, and there's seasons where it might work well and where it won't work well, and because it's hard for all edges to be arbitraged out of the market all the time. So there tends to be cycles on it. But over a long enough time horizon, that's not going to be profitable. You have to find something that isn't well known, and you're going to have to trade it with a small enough size for the market to not catch on to that edge in order to really make money in the long run, right? It's competitive. So this whole thing where gurus come out and they tell you, hey, just mirror my trades and you make money, it's BS, right? If it's really a good strategy, it might work for a little while, but they're going to get popular and enough people trade it and it's going to disappear. Probably what is more likely the case is that they're taking the trade, then telling you about the signal, letting you all get long, and then after you all get long, then he takes his profits. Right? There are people out there doing that, or at least it appears to me that that's what they're doing. Right? So in order to make money trading, you have to do the work yourself. You really do. You really do. I can teach you a lot of things, but I don't have all the answers. I think I know more than the average retail trader, but I don't have all the answers, because the reality is that finding an edge in the market is really hard. Like, think about it. Millions of people have dedicated their lives over the last few thousand years to understanding markets and trying to predict where prices are going to go on things, right? So what makes you think that you're going to beat them with like a line on the chart? I draw a line, and that's the trick, guys. And all of our ancestors, they just didn't know. They didn't have the chart. They didn't know that all you got to do is draw a line. Right? It's ridiculous when you think about it from that perspective. Anyone that's a quote-unquote guru isn't selling subscriptions, they are trading. Well, so don't get me wrong. There are people out there that are really good traders, and they might sell a service. So they might sell a newsletter. They might sell an indicator. They might sell a strategy or a book. And that's okay to sell services. And just because somebody is selling services doesn't mean that like they're lying to you or they're being dishonest. You just need to realize that there's no course or indicator or anything else for that matter that you can go and buy that's going to make you a profitable trader, right? I have an indicator package. I think there's a lot of things in that indicator package that are really valuable to you, right? Like being able to see the dollar index without having to subscribe to ICE data is, I think, valuable, right? Is that going to make you a profitable trader? No, but is it valuable? Yes. Right? So I wouldn't just say that just because a quote-unquote guru is selling something, because like, here's the thing. What incentive would I have to tell you, like, I'm going to teach you how my strategy works out of the goodness of my heart, and then what is going to happen? It's going to get arbitraged away, guys. You can see the dollar index without ICE data. That's correct. Do you see it up there in the upper left corner? So what I do is I calculate it using the spot FX futures. Like I have the same calculation and I calculate it. And here I have a chart of the euro, and then I add my dollar index indicator to it, and you can see what the current dollar index is. So, and you get that if you go to speculatorseth.com, you can download it and trial it on NinjaTrader 8 for 2 weeks. And then after that, you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel here for $10 a month, and you get that. Oh, my thing finished. And what was it that I had that was different? Oh, 0.5, 0.6. And 0.6 is 137 trades. So it's just very exponential, I suppose. But that worked with a 51% win rate. I bet you I could get that one to work with the 0.5 even, because like it's looking for a specific condition. I don't think that condition should always be a buy, but it often ends up being a buy. I could do some other things to look at it and say, okay, but end price is going up, because I don't specify that in here. You should make a concise video or book about trading myths and sell it. Well, I mean, I've made a lot of videos about this sort of stuff. The thing is if I make a video that's like, okay, the best moving average, and then I show that, you know, the issues with moving averages and the statistics and everything, that's not that popular because people aren't searching for that, you know? I have to put in like what people are searching for. Plus, I'm not that entertaining. I really think when it comes back to it, like my videos need to be a lot funnier and entertaining for the channel to really grow. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, yeah, the thing, there needs to be more jokes. It needs to be better. But I also have been writing a book. Like I want to write a book that, because there's so much esoteric knowledge. Like there's all this technical analysis nonsense that, you know, honestly doesn't matter. But then there's all of these other things like how does the treasury auctions work? And here are all of the key data points throughout the week. And here's everything that you should know about the non-farms jobs report, right? And this number and how it relates to every asset and, you know, that sort of stuff. I've never seen that anywhere. There's the knowledge that I have and knowledge that I think I can give out without like dramatically affecting my strategy, you know? And it would be like the Day Trader's Handbook. But that's a lot of time to write. I need way more time to do it. Like if the YouTube channel had gotten to the point where, you know, I made a living off of the YouTube channel alone, and so I wouldn't do it if the trading had gotten to that point. I do not believe that the trading can really be something that I can rely on for my sole source of income, unless maybe I had paid the house off already or something like that, right? But if we get to the point where the YouTube channel is paying the bills, then we could write that book. Until then, I think it'll just kind of be like, I think it's more like you're speaking to and attracting seasoned traders and repelling 90. Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Well, I mean, we'll say that those of you that come here every day, you've been here every day for years and years and years. And many of you have been trading much longer than I have. And so I do think that and that was my intention, was to get people that were really interested in trading and really understood, you know, that basic thing that I said about how the market is competitive and everything. The 99% need fluffiness and fast money. Yeah. Well, you know, so there was this channel, or what, I forget what it was called. Somebody was linking it the other day. There's a channel, they posted a video about like one of the big Wall Street firms posted a paper about basically trading against these people buying far out of the money calls, right? How to take advantage of it and stuff. And, that's like good stuff. But they were also really funny. It was very much like Wall Street bets, lots of jokes and all, all of that. So that's where I was like, oh, I'm so boring compared to that. A lot of retail traders know of level 2, but they copped out of learning it because a guru came to their aid and offered them an easier way. Yeah. Well, the thing is like when I'm on TikTok, from time to time, I will make a post and somebody will catch on to it and it will do really well. I made so this guy the other day, he was pointing out how you would get these moves that kind of have like these curves at the end of them in Bitcoin. I was like, well, the reason that's happening is because of the square root law of meta order impact, right? Somebody's trying to move the price and that's as far as they can move it. And there's not a whole lot else going on right now. So you can kind of identify where people are trying to manipulate the price. Yeah, they really liked that. That video didn't get a ton of video views though. But if I come in and I show, like I have on a few occasions shown an example of order flow where there was a really clear reaction on the tape, and those videos did well too. But they don't consistently do well. My YouTube isn't so great that, I have thousands of subscribers that like every video, like some people. Those who win at Russian roulette are the only ones who are there to say their winning strategy. Well, I think that a part of this is when I say like you guys are the seasoned traders, that doesn't mean that you're like the most successful and profitable traders. I think that there's an understanding that no matter what, that it's really freaking hard, right? But so maybe it's more that I've found the ones that are truly willing to work and stick around and stick with it for a long time, right? ZB testing, 23. I was thinking about holding that last contract for a new high, but then I was looking at it and I was like, if I really want to get in again, I could probably take another trade at 28 or 27.5. Probably 27.5 might be a little bit too much to ask for, but and what's critical is you need to boast. You need to show your winners and losers. And I'm never going to do that. I mean, it's just like, for starters, that's where you get in trouble, right? Is when you start trying to tell everybody, oh, I'm making money all the time. It's not, I don't really want to attract people because that's why they're coming, Like I think in the end, it kind of hurts you because then it's like, okay, you're doing really well because you're trading well and you're posting big numbers on there and everybody wants to watch your videos because of that. But then you do poorly and they all disappear. Right? Like, I think that people should come like for the, like, here's the thing, like the stream. I don't care if the stream ever gets bigger. Like, I do think that things are a little better when we're at 50 viewers, but I'm sure that we'll go back up there at some point, right? But when we were like, had all of the people coming in from GameStop, that didn't really make the stream better. Do you think it did? I don't think it did. So I don't care if the stream gets popular. I do want the channel to get more successful though, right? Which just means Seth needs to get better at making videos. He needs to make more entertaining videos. I think that the content that we provide is really great, right? It's not interesting and engaging enough. It's surprising how many retail traders now, having had exposure to order flow, reject it and don't look into it. Well, I think that a major factor behind that, though, is that the majority of retail traders, and I mean the vast, I mean, like, I'm going to bet that it's probably like 80% of retail traders want to trade stocks, right? And from the stock's perspective, you can't really get order flow very well, at least. And it's kind of irrelevant to what the edges that I think most retail traders in stocks try to take advantage of, which is like trading the right instrument, right? Like to them, buying in the, it probably might help them refine their entries, but really the thing that's going to determine whether they make money or not is they're picking the right instrument for the day, and getting to it first. Oh, back in the day, retail traders didn't know about order flow, and I thought that was why they didn't trade it. Yeah. But it's really, like, again, it's really... So, like... Oh, man, so was that a new high? Yeah, it was. It was a new high. If you're trading the 10-year, I think you're going to have a really hard time watching that thing without looking at the book, right? In the E-mini, I don't know. I'm a little torn on how much it actually helps. Because for me, the tape usually just moves too quickly. And when I've gone through and I've back-tested things, they're not super great either. So, like, I guess I should run this at 0.7. I think what I really want to do is I want to go back to when it's 0.5 and then do a filter based on direction. To be honest, though, when I was trying to wrap my head around all this stuff, I thought I was so dumb it took me a while. Yeah, well, I go back and I look at it, and like when I first started looking at order flow and the beginning of this channel, I really don't think I really understood what I was looking at in quite the same way that I do now. There was too much uncertainty in my mind about certain things, and I don't know. I don't know what it is about the subject that makes it that way, but it seems to me that it's not something that your mind intuitively understands. Like, I can come in and I can say, okay, when you put a limit buy order, it goes in this column, and when you put a limit sell order, it goes in this column, and then the market orders are matched up against it, and the interplays between them is what determines how price moves up and down. I don't even know if I would be able to give you that description. Certainly I'd been given that description, but I just didn't understand it the same way. It's really weird. Right. And then there's all this, like there's so much stuff like that I've read in books about, like one of the things that I think is really interesting and I want to do some more investigation into, and I'm just not sure how to take advantage of it. But like the volume clusters, like, you don't see a lot of trades and then you're going to get a bunch of flurry of changes all at once. And there's like models about how that works and how much volume you can potentially expect to come into the next flurry and therefore have to adjust your price and stuff. And like I've read the pages, but do I really understand it on a deep intuitive level? I don't think I do. So maybe it is just that it's really difficult content. I don't know. But you notice though on like the main channel content that I don't talk about order flow setups very much. I'm much more general because the thing is that I want to provide you something that I know is going to help, but that I also can verify and you can know is true. So like I could teach you, I could make videos that go into more detail about order flow. And those are things that the things that I would say in those would be things that you could verify, but they may or may not help you, you know? Because everything that I've seen in order flow says to me that if there is a way where like it's consistent the way that certain setups turn out, that it is regime based, and that you have to know what regime you're in to know which way to take the trade. Oh, it is time to go. I am so off. Okay. Hey guys, stay profitable, friends.